think we're recording. Haven't heard my little blurb yet. Let me just double check here real quick. It doesn't say I'm recording. Sorry for the pause here. I just want to make sure we're up and running. Let's try this one more time. It's so hard to see outdoors. Okay. Oh yeah, looks like we are running. It says we're running. So, okay. Good morning. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga by the Pool. Today our focus is on mobility and strengthening of the spine. So we're going to focus on a little bit of back bending and exercises that really focus on strengthening the spine in a diagonal fashion. So from the upper portion of the back down to the lower portion with a little bit of rotation and extension of the spine. So this is really wonderful if you experience some back pain, but be sure while you're doing your practice to really listen to your body and make sure everything feels okay for you. So we're actually starting on our back today. So coming to a reclined position. If you need a little cushion for the back of your head, you can place something or a little bit of a neck roll behind the neck. And just come to a bent knee position. Find a neutral spine in your back. And start to walk your feet a little bit wider out towards the sides of your mat and let your knees just roll in towards one another and relax in this position. And we'll begin to ground and prepare for our practice this morning, focusing on the breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And on your next breath in, with the knees still connected, press into the bottoms of the feet and tuck your tailbone under a little bit and do a little pelvic tilt. So I'm not lifting my back off the ground. I'm just tilting and pressing that lower back into the mat. And then rock your pelvis the other way, tilting into an anterior tilt. Try to really lift your back off, just your lower back off the mat. Your hips are still down. And then just go back and forth with this little pelvic tilt. Tuck under, and then rock the hips forward. For you, this might not be a big range of motion, which is absolutely fine. We're just warming up in that lower back. And the knees are still connected together. We'll do one more. Tuck the tailbone under. And then tilt the tailbone underneath the body forward and come back to a neutral position. Right from here, open up your knees so that you're in parallel. Everything's tracking. And do the same thing. Tuck the tailbone under, do a little pelvic tilt, and then rock the pelvis forward. And you might be able to find more freedom of this movement now that your knees are separated. Connecting the breath with the movement. And just notice if you feel any pinching at all in your lower back when you come to that anterior tilt, you can make this movement a little bit smaller. We'll do one more, tuck under. And then come back to neutral. Now with your feet still where they are, or with your knees where they are, walk your feet in a little bit and turn the toes out. So you're almost in a little froggy. Do the same action, tuck the tailbone under. You might feel more of a release here in your hip flexors, and then rock the pelvis the other direction. Tuck under, and release that into spinal extension. And one more pelvic tilt, tuck under, press that lower back down into the mat. Rock your pelvis the other way, lifting the back away from the mat. And then come back to neutral. Bring your knees back in so everything lines up with knees, hips, and toes. Pelvic tilt, and then press into your feet and come up into bridge. Now this might not be a really big bridge for you first off. Just a comfortable bridge, and then one vertebra at a time. Roll back down, And when your hips get to the mat, tilt your pelvis forward so you're creating more space underneath your lower back. Tuck and imprint the spine, roll up to bridge, roll back down, and then tilt the pelvis the other way. And you can either inhale or exhale when you come up to the bridge. Either one is absolutely fine, just as long as you let the breath flow. You're moving the breath in and out. And take your time. We've got one more repetition. And we'll hold this last one at the top of the bridge. Now, maybe from this position, you might be able to walk your feet a little closer to your body. So maybe step in a little bit more, press up. We're going to do tiny lifts at the top. So drop your hips down a couple of inches and lift up. Drop down and lift up. You can also do this with a little bit more of a chest expansion by bringing your hands behind your back, interlacing your fingers, pulling your shoulder blades together a little bit more. Drop those hips down and up. So we do have a bit of a back bend here. So if you're feeling any pinching in that lower back, you can make this smaller. Also make sure that the chin is in alignment with the ceiling or with the sky, not pressing into your sternum or tipping back too far. Nice neutral head position. Let's hold one more bridge up, nice and still for 3 breaths. And feel your pada bandha, that connection of your feet into the mat. And make sure the ball mound of your big toe is pressing into the floor so you're not rolling out to the baby toe. One more breath. And then if the hands are clasped, let that go. Separate your shoulder blades. Roll down slowly, tucking your pelvis at the very end. And then come to a nice neutral spine and extend your legs all the way out to straight. We'll inhale, reaching the arms up. You can let your lower back lift a little off the mat. Exhale, pull the right knee into your chest and curl your head and shoulders up off the mat. And wind relieving pose. Now you can flex your ankle or point your toe and then extend that leg back down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, left knee comes up, head and shoulders lift off the mat and scoop your belly. And then we'll alternate sides. Stretch and pull in. I just want you to notice where you're feeling the work here. Try to connect with your core muscles. So your abdominals are firing as you do this curl up while you're pressing your lower back into the floor, releasing tension in the lumbar spine, releasing tension in the glutes. With the breath, let's take one more on each leg, the right leg coming up. And then the left leg. Then take a stretch and pull both knees up to your chest. Curve the spine. And then as you release your arms over your head, knees come to tabletop. Then curl in. Tabletop. And in. Now we'll add on a layer of difficulty with this exercise. So instead of coming to tabletop, one leg goes out and pull in. Then the other leg goes out and pull in. So one knee is in table, the other leg is extended. And we're really finding the core is starting to fire here, and the back is moving and stretching through a nice range of motion. Now you could also try both legs extending out bracing your core and pulling in. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you pull in. So either both knees in table, both legs extending, or one leg extending and then the other. Let's do 2 more repetitions. If your neck's getting tired, your head can remain on the floor. 1 more repetition. Then set your head back down and your feet to the mat. We're going to transition to hands and knees, so you can either roll over onto your side and press up, or hold behind your knees and rock yourself up until you are in a seated position. We'll be on our knees for a while, so if you have a hard surface, you might like a little knee padding or make a fold in your mat. And we'll come to all fours, hands and knees. So just check your back and see how it's feeling with a few cat and cows. Inhale, let the belly drop down, then exhale, scoop it in and up, and really find some freedom of movement here with cat and cow. Let's take 1 more of each movement. Then coming to a neutral spine. We'll take the right leg straight back. The left arm reaches in opposition. So for a couple of breaths, let's just hold this spinal balance. It's a wonderful strengthening exercise for the back. Make sure that your pelvis is level, that your right hip is not rising up higher than your left, and your head's in a nice neutral position. Then with the breath, slightly drop the belly and look forward, reaching. Then exhale and pull that knee and elbow together, rounding in cat. Going at your own pace here. An option is to keep your left hand also on the floor and just use the leg for this movement. If you feel a little bit more stable, to keep both hands connected on the mat. It's a wonderful option and modification. Now, to some degree, this is what we were doing on our back. We're pulling one knee into the chest and bringing the nose up towards the knee and curving the spine. Let's do 1 more repetition. Then reach it out and back to hold that spinal balance. And then the left hand finds the mat. Curling your toes under, put your right foot down onto the floor and push into your heel to stretch your calf. Another option is to push into your hands and lift the hips up in a down dog and really stretch. Now, if you're doing the down dog with your staggered feet, you can also stretch into the top of the left foot. So I'm slightly pushing down into the top of the arch of my foot and into the toes on that left leg. And really letting the right heel drop down to get a wonderful stretch in the calf. Let's take 1 more breath here. And then the knees come back down, back to your all fours. Extend the left leg straight back. The right arm reaches for spinal balance. Now, typically we're a little bit stronger on one side than we are the other. So you might feel some differences here as you're holding this pose. And then again, as we move, inhale to slightly let the belly drop, lift the leg, lift the arm. Exhale, bring the elbow and the knee and curve the back. So you're tucking the tailbone under. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tuck. And an option is to keep the right hand on the ground and just do the action of the leg. Three more repetitions. and 2. Last one, then reaching out long, hold that spinal balance for just a couple more breaths. And really activate your leg. Feel the muscles working. So the leg's not just hanging there in space, but it's really active. The muscles contracting. And then the right hand comes back down to the floor. With the toes tucked under, press the ball of the left foot down into the mat and push into your heel. You can stay here or push up into down dog, stretching the top of the arch of the right foot and dropping that left heel down into the mat. And really push away from your hands so you don't have a lot of weight on your wrists here. Opening up through the lat muscles and into the armpits. Take one more breath. And then drop back down to the knees. We'll bring the right hand towards the right ear, and the elbow is out to the side. Now just start to turn your spine. So we're trying to get that elbow to come way up to the ceiling. And then bring it back down and try to touch your right elbow to your left wrist. So this is a modification of thread the needle, but we're not lifting the arm up and bringing it through. We're just using the back muscles to pull, pull, pull up. We'll do 2 more here. One more, just the elbow lifting. And to the wrist. Then we'll expand this into a full thread the needle. So as you reach up, the arm lifts and then thread it down to where your shoulder comes down to the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. So we're working on our back muscles through this nice rotation of the spine. Also mobility of the spine with our twist. One more time. Then hold your thread the needle and take your left hand and inch it way up towards the top of your mat. Keep crawling your fingers as far as you can upward until you open up your armpit on that left side. A gentle stretch for the right shoulder. And make sure that your pelvis is nice and neutral. One more breath. Then bring that left hand back underneath the shoulder to push yourself up. Open out one more time, reach. And then come back to hands and knees. We'll bring the fingertips of the left hand towards the ear. Rotate, reaching your elbow as much as you can up to the ceiling. And then the elbow tries to find the right wrist. Inhale as we open. Exhale to rotate downward. Notice if you feel any differences in the range of motion moving to this side as you open up. One more time just with the elbow. I really like this modification for thread the needle. Then if you're ready, open that arm all the way out, feeling more of a stretch in your chest, and slide it through, bringing the shoulder down. Now, for some reason, this full thread the needle doesn't feel okay for your shoulder. You can go back to the elbow version. It's a wonderful option. And you're using the supporting arm to lower your body down and to push yourself up. So it's a wonderful strengthening exercise for your right tricep and your right shoulder. Let's do one more. Reach it up. Then thread the needle, bringing that shoulder all the way down. Hold. Inch the right fingertips way up to the top of the mat. And relax and breathe. While you're here, you can kind of check and make sure that your pelvis is level. You should feel equal weight into the right and left knees into the mat, so you're not tipping over one direction. And we'll take one more breath. Then sliding that right hand back underneath the shoulder, push yourself up, one more rotation upward. And then hands and knees. So we'll walk the fingertips way out in front of you for puppy pose. This is called Anahatasana. So when we come into child's pose, we usually bring the butt down towards the heels. In Anahatasana, we keep our hips right over the knees, and we try to sink our chest down into the mat, or the forehead, or the chin. And the hips are not dropping back to the heels. The butt is way up in the air, and we're tipping our tailbone up towards the sky, creating a nice back bend. Now you can control how deep you go into this. It's a big shoulder stretch and a big heart opener. Anahatasana does mean the heart opener as we translate our Sanskrit terms. So we're really opening up through those lats and through the chest. And even though we're in a big back bend, try to keep your abdominals engaged. So you're not just hanging into this pose, but you're holding yourself into the pose with strong abdominals. And we'll take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, start to walk your hands back in. Not all the way, though, keeping them in a position for down dog. Tuck the toes, lift those hips up, and then really push away from the hands, just like you were in Anahatasana. So we're trying to open up the shoulders, dropping the chest towards the thighs, lifting the sitting bones up to the ceiling. We'll take 2 more breaths here in our down dog. And we'll inhale the right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, take a step forward towards the top of your mat and drop your left knee down for low lunge. And we'll lift the arms up. And since our focus today is on spinal extension, we'll take a baby back bend here, whatever feels okay for your body. And we'll lengthen, 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 and extend the spine. Maybe the palms press together, or we interlace the fingers, taking the pointer fingers way, way up and extend through the spine. Now, if this really bothers your shoulders, you can also bring hands to heart center and still do your back bend, or your arms can be more forward of your body. We'll take 2 more breaths. And then coming up with the palms of the hands connected, rotate the left elbow towards the right thigh into a twisting prayer low lunge, and look over that right shoulder. And then if you'd like, you can open your arms so you've got that left hand braced across the right leg, and your right arm is opening out to the side. That right arm can also wrap behind your back, rolling that shoulder open behind you. Wherever you are, 2 more breaths. You can even be just up here. 1 more breath. Then bringing the palms of the hands back to that front thigh. Tuck the back toe under. Push yourself back to your down dog. Hold 3 breaths. Notice any differences you feel from the right to the left sides of your body. You can also take a child's pose if that's better for you as a little bit of a breather here. One more breath. And then we'll lift the left leg. Stretch it up, reach it. Take a step through towards the top of your mat, dropping your right knee down for low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then we'll add our back bend, any amount. And when we do our back bend, it's not all here in this lower back region. We want to bend from the upper back. We can interlace the palms, extend through the index fingers up. Palms can come at your heart center or arms can reach forward. 2 more breaths. And the palms press at the heart as we come into our twisting lunge, drawing that right shoulder or right elbow towards the left knee and gazing over the left shoulder. Then you can take your options, extending that right arm out to straight. The left arm can come up or it can wrap behind your back. 3 more breaths. Nice long spine as we rotate. And then we'll bring everything back to the center, taking the palms of the hands down, tuck the back toes underneath, lifting off the knee, pressing back to your downward facing dog. So we're going to move through that series one more time on each side with the option of coming up into high lunge. So we'll lift the right leg up, nice big step forward between your hands towards the top of your mat. You can drop that left knee or stay lifted this time to come up into high lunge. And we'll add our baby back bend. Lengthen, really reach. Keep those abdominals engaged. A little bit more of a balance challenge here. And then pressing palms at the heart, we'll rotate towards the right into our twisting lunge, bringing that left elbow across the right thigh. You can take your options here, extending that right arm up or wrapping it behind your lower back. Try to look over that shoulder. This is definitely a lot of balance if you're up off that back knee. 1 more breath. And then coming out of the twist, reach the hands down to the mat. Push back into your downward facing dog. Or rest the knees to the mat, finding child's pose. 3 breaths. And preparing for the other side, we'll lift that left leg, stretch it up. Step forward towards your hands. Option to drop the right knee down or rise up into your high lunge. Optional baby back bend. When you add that back bend, you get a little bit more stretch through that front hip flexor or through the right hip flexor here. 1 more breath. And bringing the palms down, rotate to the left into your twisting prayer lunge. If you're really struggling with balance, let that right knee come down to the mat. And either staying at heart center with the hands or extending the arms or wrapping that top arm behind your low back. 3 breaths. And come out of the twist. Palms find the mat. Push back to your down dog or your child's pose one more time for 3 breaths. Just check in and see how your spine's feeling, your low back, mid back, upper back, really opening up the heart. Then we'll drop our knees and we're coming to Camel Pose. You might like to have a block for this one to bring the floor up to you a little bit. If you're going to use your block, put it off the right side of your body so it's close by. Tuck your toes underneath if that feels comfortable for your feet. And we'll take the fists and place them right behind the low back on either side in the sacrum. Pull your elbows towards one another and lift your heart into that baby back bend. So this first one, you don't have to go back really far. Just use your fists to support your lower back and lengthen through your spine, opening up the throat. Maybe you'll feel a little stretch across the tops of your thighs and your hip flexors. One more breath. And then rising back up. Now reach the arms up, stretch. Start to turn to your right side where we place the block. And we'll look for it and reach back and place your hand either on the block or your hand can come down to your heel. We're going to twist here through our camel pose, but keep your pelvis. You want your hips facing straight forward, and it's just the spine rotating, looking down towards that right heel, right hand, and really reach up with the left arm. Stretch open through the lats. One more breath. And then rising back up, reach the arm. If you're using the block, you can put it over off to that left heel, rotate, either reach down to the block or to your heel, and then realign your hips forward. So make sure you're not twisting, but keep pressing both frontal hip bones forward, lift up, up, up through the spine and twist. Taking your gaze down towards the left hand, or you can look up as well. And reach 2 more breaths. And rising back up, use your core to help you lift. Now your option is going to bring both hands to your heels, or both hands again, you can bring the fists to the sacrum. So we can reach back, open up through the heart, find those heels, and extend through the spine. Slightly engage your glutes to push the hips forward. Now, if this bothers your neck, to let your head drape back, you can bring your chin forward and stack it so it's more in a neutral position. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And use your core and your thighs to pull yourself up, reach the arms. And swan dive into child's pose. So the arms come down, reach the arms way out to the top of the mat, dropping the forehead. You can let your toes turn back over, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. You can also bring the arms next to the sides of the body to relax your shoulders. And take 3 breaths into the back body, deep into the lower lungs. And then we'll bring those palms right back underneath the shoulders to press yourself up. So if you have padding under your knees, you can remove that as we're coming onto our belly. So draw yourself forward, drop your hips, and come all the way down. And strengthening our back, similar to the way we did our thread the needle, we're going to put the elbows out to the side. resting your forehead onto your hands. And keep your left elbow onto the mat as you rotate the right elbow upward. And it's not just the elbow lifting, it's the whole back. And then rotate down. We're going to stay on that right side. Rotate up and down. 3 more repetitions for 5. Both hip bones are pressed into the mat. Keep breathing. 2 more. And 1 more time. Twist and lower down. Taking it to the left. The right elbow stays on the mat. Rotate the left elbow up and down. It's really common to have a big difference in the range of motion you can lift up to the other side. Or maybe the strength to be able to lift up. 2 more repetitions for 5. And 1 more, rotate it up and back down. Now lifting straight up, the elbows come away to the floor, from the floor, but the forehead stays on the hands. We lift up and down. 5 reps. Legs are nice and active on the mat, maybe about hips distance apart. 2 more, coming up a little higher. Lift. And 1 more time. Hold it up. Option to reach the arms forward and the legs to lift, holding locust pose. 3 breaths. The chin is slightly tucked. 2 breaths. Last inhalation. Then exhale, pull the palms of the hands underneath the shoulders to push yourself up. Let's just take a cat stretch. So reversing that arch of the back, tuck the tailbone under and open up through the lumbar spine. And then coming back down onto your belly, walk the hands out, drop down. Make a pillow for your forehead with your left hand so you have your head neutral. And we'll reach back for the right ankle for a quad stretch here. Now, if it's not available for you to reach that ankle, you can do a couple of things. You can roll over onto your left side. See if you can get that foot and then roll back over onto your belly, or just stay on your left side. You can also take your yoga strap and loop it around your foot and pull that leg in toward you. So your option is either to stay here in a passive stretch for the quad, or we'll lift up into half bow pose by reaching that left arm out towards the top of your mat, lifting up the chest, and lifting your thigh any amount away from the floor. And boy, are my quads tight today. That thigh's not coming up at all today. Woo, really tight. Let's take 3 breaths here. And then lowering back down, release the ankle. If you're laying on your side, you can roll back over to your belly, and we'll switch, making a pillow for the forehead with the right hand, reaching back for the left ankle. And again, you can completely roll over onto that side and do your stretch here. This is wonderful. So just holding, either passively stretching through that left quad, or make this active movement through the back muscles, reaching out into half bow. You're slightly contracting your left glute to lift that knee up. Contract through your back muscles, nice long spine. We'll hold here 2 more breaths. Then lowering back down, release the ankle. Both hands are again under the forehead. So your choices are to come back into locust again as we did before by lifting up with the arms and legs and reaching out. Or we can bend both knees behind, taking both ankles and lift up into our full bow. Wherever you're at, think about a good head position. Try not to pinch the back of the neck too much. 2 more breaths. Then release. Let's take a counter stretch with the spine in cat. Press yourself up. Tuck the tailbone under and open up along the entire spine. Just hold and breathe. Child's pose is another wonderful option. And we'll take 2 more breaths. And then come back to a neutral spine. Take your right leg straight back behind you. Bend your knee and push your heel up to the ceiling. Option to stay here as you are or to reach the left hand back to grab that right ankle and press up into a kneeling half bow. You can also drop back down to the belly and do this from the belly. Just pull that heel in towards the glute and hold it. Contract that right glute. Try to lift your knee up. 2 more breaths. And then release. Come back down all fours. Extend your left leg back. Bend the knee. Push your heel up to the ceiling and either hold as you are or reach back to grab that ankle and lift up. Now, this can be a big back bend, so keep those abdominals engaged. Keep contracting the left glute to press that heel up to the ceiling. 2 more breaths. And then release. Tuck the toes underneath. Press yourself up to downward facing dog. Walk the feet towards the hands. Forward bend. Soften those knees any amount you need. Grab opposite elbows. Hang in ragdoll pose. Relax your head. Let your lower back go, your hamstrings go. You can also grab your hands behind your thighs and pull yourself closer towards your legs. Or if you're really tight, come into half lift, lifting up. More of a neutral spine. 3 more breaths wherever you are today. Then we'll start to roll the spine up, 1 vertebra at a time. So letting go of those arms, tuck the tailbone under, restacking your spine, slowly coming up. Your head comes up last. When you make it to the top, sweep your arms out and up. Reach and take a baby back bend. So similar as to what we did with our camel pose, you can also bring your fists to your sacral area to support here in your lower back and extend the spine upward. 3 breaths. spine back up to neutral and mountain pose. Our balance pose of the day is Warrior 3. And we're going to have an option also to come into dancer pose if you want to stretch your quads. So if you need a block, you can have it in front of you. If you need the wall to hold you up or a chair, wonderful. So let's stand on our left foot first, reaching the right leg back behind you, either coming just into Warrior 3 here or supporting yourself onto a block. So if you want to reach for that back ankle, you can pull the knee toward you, grab it with your right hand, and bring that leg back behind. So this is similar to a standing split. It's a different version of our dancer pose. We get that quad stretch into the mix. You can keep lifting that knee up behind you, make it more of a back bend. 3 breaths. One more breath. And lower that leg back down. Stand up. Sweep the arms. Take a baby back bend. Returning to your mountain pose, we'll prepare for the other side. So many options. The right leg is in front. The left leg goes back. So you can just hold your Warrior 3 here. You can bring your hands to a block, to a chair. You can catch that left ankle and pull that knee up behind you. Nice and stable. 3 breaths. And then release, lowering the leg. Inhale, sweep up, baby back bend. And exhale to our mountain pose. Step your right foot slightly forward of your left so your feet are staggered. And we're going to work the back through strength and a pyramid pose. So we'll lift the arms up and then lengthen the spine forward and reach. So the first part of our pyramid will be up parallel to the floor and working our back muscles. Let your hands float down so they're reaching towards the ankle, and lift your arms out to the side. Then rotate your body to the right. So your left hand is reaching down, and you can also find a block. Rotate and hold. So this is a modified revolved triangle pose. One more breath on our twist. Then as you exhale, come out of the twist and lower your body down as far as you'd like to stretch that front hamstring. So you might have your hands on a chair or a block, or they can come all the way down to the mat and fold over that front leg and really let the hamstring go wherever you are in this pose today. Two more breaths. And then to exit the pose, slightly bend your front knee a little bit. Bring your hands back out in front of you. Reach and pull yourself all the way up with the strength of your leg and your back. Press the palms and then switch the feet so your left foot is in front, your right foot is staggered behind. It's not really far behind you. And reach the arms up. Hinge from the hips and just come halfway down. So your back is working here to hold this position. Nice neutral spine. Let your arms float down. Open them straight out like a T. Then rotate to the left so your right hand is coming down. And maybe that hand finds your block or the floor. We're holding that twisting triangle, revolve triangle. One more breath. Coming out of the twist, and then we lower down any amount to stretch that left hamstring using any props that suit you today for this pose. And it's about finding your edge to be able to let go and not to be fighting the stretch or tensing the muscles, and really breathing through this pose. 2 more breaths. Then to exit the pose, put a small bend in your front knee. Reach the arms out in front of you. Push up, reaching towards the sky. Press the palms together. Step the back foot in so you are in mountain pose. We're going to move through 2 sun salutations to close our practice today. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back to lunge, then your left foot back to plank. From the knees or toes, lower your belly all the way down. Choosing either baby cobra or press up into up dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, step the right foot forward to lunge. The left foot follows, forward bend. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Baby back bend at the top. Swan dive back into your forward fold for one more sun salutation. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Your left foot steps back to lunge. The right foot back to plank. From the knees or the toes, chaturanga. Extending into cobra or upward facing dog. And press back into down dog. Bend your knees. The left foot steps forward to lunge. Right foot forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. One more baby back bend. And press the palms at heart center back into your mountain pose. We'll close your eyes for a few moments of standing meditation. Just noticing how your body's feeling today. And we'll start at the feet. Noticing that Pada Bandha, the feel of the mat underneath the bottoms of the feet, the grounding of your feet. Pull your awareness up into your ankles, that joint that stabilizes your body as you balance. Pull the awareness up into your knees and try to draw your kneecaps up by really lengthening your legs. Pull your awareness up into your thighs. Strong legs. Awareness moves into the glutes, slightly tensing the gluteals, freeing the hip flexors. Our awareness moves up into the belly as we notice the breath moving in and out. We notice our spine from the base through the crown of the head and try to lengthen up a little bit further. We notice our shoulder blades and pull them back towards one another, releasing tension in the heart. And we notice our arms pressing the palms together. Find some tension. And in this strong mountain pose, we'll hold 2 more breaths. And we'll close our practice today acknowledging honor and wisdom and gratitude. And the light and love that resides within me honors the light and love in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me online. Thank you to Fern. Fern, the pool is all yours. I'm going to shut our recording off and go inside and chat with everyone where I can see where it's not so much glare here. I hope everyone had a fantastic workout. All right, where are we at here? Stop recording. All right.